Hello once again, and welcome to another edition of the SaskAgToday.com Roundtable. I'm joined by the Chief Agricultural Editor for SaskAgToday.com, Kevin Hirsch, as well as the Agri-News Director for 620 CKRM Regina, Ryan Young. I'm Doug Falconer, the Agriculture Director at GX94 in Yorkton. And as we record this, gentlemen, big announcement out of Ottawa this morning with the Prime Minister talking about some funding to help out the farmers who are dealing with the tariffs regarding canola from China. And I guess probably the biggest part of it was some biofuel announcements, some incentives there. What's your take on all of this, Kevin?
Well, it was interesting to read through the release, and it talked about the trade issues with the U.S., never once mentioned China, only in generic terms as far as trade issues. But there will be producers take advantage of the $500,000 increased limit on advance payment program on cash advances for canola. And if you believe that this whole problem is going to be sorted out and canola prices are going to increase, maybe that will be something that you can use to tide yourself over until you sell. But it's certainly not a cash injection that many people would be hoping for. If you look at cash prices for canola now, we're down mid 12.50, 12.60, 12.70 kind of a range per bushel. That's a very low price compared to what we saw not too many months ago. The other thing is the biofuel initiative, $370 million to as a production incentive. It's my understanding that we import a lot of biofuel from the U.S. because our policies are not competitive. So I think that's a good move, and maybe will spur some new plants and new offerings, particularly in the biodiesel realm.
Ryan, the Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan put out a news release on this afternoon. Anything pique your interest there?
Well, first of all, it's the advanced payments program and the fact that they're increasing the interest-free portion for canola advances to $500,000 for the 2025-26 program years. So that's good for farmers who have utilized that program before, or maybe are going to use it for the first time. That'll be a nice injection of cash flow for their operations. And there was a few other things that APAS kind of mentioned here. I'll just kind of read it off the news release here. There's mention of an agri-marketing program expansion, so a $75 million investment over 5 years to diversify exports into high-growth markets such as Africa, the Indo-Pacific, and the Middle East, reducing reliance on volatile markets like China. And the other additional mention was a regional tariff response initiative designed to quickly address tariff barriers that specifically impact regional agriculture sectors, providing targeted support to ensure these sectors can remain competitive on the global stage. Now, President Bill Przybylski says in the news release that while these measures are good, and it's a step in the right direction and something that they've been waiting for quite a while. And some of the things that they have advocated for are mentioned, so that's good. They point out that the pulse sector, specifically for peas, is kind of left out of these whole measures. So they're wanting to get them included into these support measures as well. Basically saying if one sector suffers, we all suffer. So that's kind of the next step in APAS's lobbying efforts, it kind of looks like.
Kevin, what did you think of those contents from APAS?
I think they're spot on. Peas have often been forgotten, but the 100% tariff on peas, and now India is threatening a 30 or 40% tariff on peas because their domestic production is large and they fear cheap product undercutting their farmers. So we've lost China essentially with a 100% tariff. We've got a 30% tariff potentially coming from India. Those are our top two customers for peas. So people talk a lot about canola, and that receives a lot more attention. But the pea industry is certainly reeling, and prices have dropped dramatically. And people wonder whether there will be markets even available for some varieties of peas.
As we speak, Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, Trade Minister Warren Kading, and Cody Blois from the federal government are planning to head over to China and as well as some other countries in the Far East to talk about trade. Is this an unprecedented move in your eyes, Kevin?
Well, it's good to see federal cooperation in when the province said it was going and extended the invitation. Please send somebody from the feds with us. Now, it's not the prime minister, but it is the parliamentary secretary to the prime minister and somebody that's been highly regarded in Cody Blois. So I don't see them making a whole lot of progress, but I think you've got to start the conversation, and China has announced a extension to its tariff investigation. It sounds like the temporary one will remain in place, the 75.8%, and a final ruling is now a little further away than what they initially said. So maybe there is some softening or some hope there, but I think Canada has got to go into those negotiations and discussions willing to offer something back to the Chinese, perhaps on the electric vehicle front, in order to get any significant movement.
Of course, we also saw both provinces, Saskatchewan and Manitoba, put out crop reports this week. And Ryan, you had a chance to speak with Tice Massich about the Saskatchewan crop report, and it was suggesting that 23% of the crop province-wide is in the bin. Any other tidbits you wanted to mention?
Just the fact that producers were able to take advantage of the hot weather that we had the previous week. So that's good to see that a lot of the regions are kind of making up lost ground. One thing that Tice mentioned in the report was just the fact that some producers are facing regrowth challenges as well as lodging challenges while combining. So that was kind of interesting. He kind of went into detail about how that affects you while combining. Now I can't recite that word verbatim. I'll have to put the interview up on the unfiltered section of saskagtoday.com for anyone who's willing to kind of hear what he had to say about those particular challenges. But those are definitely things that I heard, as well as just fall rye and winter wheat. That's almost off for the most part. Other crops are making progress, except for flax. Nobody has touched that yet. Another thing that comes to mind, aside from the crop report, is when I was on the road this week as part of the country cookouts. A couple of producers that I talked to, they said that their harvest is going all right for the most part, and things are coming off all right as well. Yields have been okay. Just in particular on Thursday, this last time I was out on the road, they said that they couldn't do much combining because of the wind that we had. So they were just kind of waiting until things die down and things kind of dry up a little bit more. But in the meantime, they'll be focusing on swathing.
Kevin, I know you've had some issues over the past week when it comes to combining in the southwest part of Saskatchewan. Any update you wanted to provide us on that?
Well, the maple peas that we've got a lot of are finally ready to combine. So even as we speak, the combines are rolling in those. But I have neighbors, especially with Durham wheat, that has got green regrowth and green heads in it that just won't mature, and they'd love to be combining and doing something, and the combines have been sitting. So that's going to drag out harvest progress. It's amazing the regrowth that occurred in some areas when the rains restarted in mid-July and into August, and the problems that's now creating.
Also, a situation where we have 23% combine in Saskatchewan, but Manitoba is actually ahead of Saskatchewan right now, 29%, according to the last report. That's quite unusual. Normally, Saskatchewan's well ahead of Manitoba because Manitoba tends to be a little wetter. What's your reaction to that news, Kevin?
Yeah, that is a surprise, but I think all of Western Canada is actually behind. And it's probably the regrowth is probably one of the reasons that I would suspect Saskatchewan has got more regrowth issues than Manitoba has. But I think we're all of us in Western Canada behind the 5 and 10 year averages for harvest progress. So be looking for continuation of warm, dry weather to make advancements in the week to come.
And of course, when it comes to harvest, Ryan had mentioned flax hasn't been touched yet. And that's a story you had this week, Ryan, from Prairie Clean Energy. And they have plans for a plant in Weyburn. It sounds like it's going ahead.
That's right. They were able to secure financing from Farm Credit Canada and Weyburn Credit Union so that this flax processing facility is operational. They're hoping this fall that it comes online and they can start producing flax pellets as well as flax fiber. Those are some of the common products that they produce from the straw. The supply is abundant from what I hear from CEO Mark Cooper, as they purchased about 25,000 tons of flax straw from this year's harvest, as well as have some agreements in place with producers around the area and a little bit around the prairies as well, but mostly in Saskatchewan to secure additional supplies. So that's around 60,000 acres of flax straw. So at least in the first few months, they're going to be plenty busy, and it's kind of a slow, gradual upscale in production that they're planning on doing, and they plan to be fully up and running, full scale rather, by the end of next year. So we'll see how it goes. It's a positive news story. Kind of heard them fundraising over the last few years and trying to get things up and going, and it's nice to see that they're finally going to be rolling here.
Kevin, of course, flax straw has long been a bane of farmers who usually just had to burn it to get rid of it. You must be glad to hear that this looks like it's going to head.
It's certainly will improve the profitability and the ease of growing flax if there's a good market for the straw and for the residue. That's one of the reasons that there was in farmer circles, sometimes there was a quote that said, "Friends don't let friends grow flax." Just because you can run into all sorts of residue issues. Like you say, you burn it or bale it, and it's not great feed value when you bale it. If somebody can create some value and make it worth baling and getting off the field, it's great. I wish this initiative all the best, but I do note there's been a number of these initiatives in numerous locations across Western Canada over the years that tried but did not make a go of utilizing flax straw. So really hope that this time it'll be different.
All right, on that note, that'll conclude this week's edition of the SaskAgToday.com Roundtable. On behalf of Agri-News Director for 620 CKRM, Ryan Young, and the Chief Agricultural Editor for SaskAgToday.com, Kevin Hirsch, I'm Doug Falconer at GX94 in Yorkton saying so long until next time.